it's not an accident that mass immigration started around the same time, in the same decades, all over the white world, and it has continued, without slowing down, no matter who is in office or in power, what political party is in the government at that time. It doesn't change. Nothing happens, and often you have. Sweden has this really vile good cop bad cop dialogue between the left and the right, just to use those terms, that the left always criticizes the right of being for having an inhumane immigration policy, whereas in reality the right always increases mass immigration. It's always under right-wing governments that immigration increases. So it's just a false dialogue. It's a false debate.
It must be the most important priority to them. Like, this is the number one issue. If there's any other stuff that can wait, forget about it. Economy doesn't matter. Workers' rights doesn't matter. Why do you think that it is so important to them to execute this agenda in the West?
Oh, that's a difficult question because it has so many factors in it. I mean, obviously there are hostile elites who really want to destroy us. Others are just hooked on this new mythology that all nationalism leads to the Holocaust, for example, or to slavery, and just when the mass media starts portraying things in films and in the news and so on, in TV entertainment and so on, these things also affect the elites. So the elites have also absorbed these ideas and images of the evil of nationalism and national identity and traditional, normal values. We can never forget that, by today's standards, even Karl Marx would be considered a Nazi, basically. So that's how much values have deteriorated over the last few decades, and in the end, it also becomes a bit about prestige. They don't wanna. They've pushed these things for so long, and to stop now would be admitting that it was a huge crime, basically, and they don't wanna admit to that. There are many psychological factors involved, but of course there are elites who genuinely want to harm us, and there are elites who really think that they will create a utopia, the Soros people who really think that national boundaries are an innate evil, and that really think that the global sort of liberal world is just a utopia, and everything we see now is just what do you call it? Födslovåndor, the pangs of pain when you give birth to this new utopia. It's just small problems on the way.
You're going to break a few eggs to make an omelet, as I say, right?
Yes.
Whatever sacrifices happen along the way, including turning their own population into a minority, and possibly, and I think we're right on this point, but probably. A hated and despised minority too, by the way. Not the kind of minorities that we had in our countries in the early days, where we took well care of them, and again, of course, it's just, I'm not suggesting that there never was anybody that had a bad experience or anything like that, but it's like we see the rates of crime and of shootings and bombs and new kinds of crime, gang rapes, of course, being one of the big ones. In Sweden, but they're willing to just look to the side of this and not really address it. In that regard, women's rights, screw that, doesn't matter. Workers' rights doesn't matter. It's all this number one priority. So they're cold-hearted. They're cruel people, those who do this to us.
Yeah, I think it was Gregory Hood who wrote an article many years, 5 years ago, maybe, at Countercurrents, that the title was something like "The War on Whites is All They Have." And basically what he argued in that article, which is a brilliant article, is that when anti-whiteness comes into conflict with other values in the modern world, in the modern paradigm, all the other values have to give way to anti-whiteness. So if there is a conflict of interest, for example, let's say between feminism and bringing in huge amounts of extremely patriarchal Muslims, then the feminists have to give way, because it's more important to bring in the Muslims. If the working class movement has interest in keeping working class wages up, and mass immigration will bring those wages down, that working class has to give way to mass immigration, because anti-whiteness is the top priority there. The environmentalist movement just consider the fact that that globalization is going to bring the industrialized lifestyle to the entire planet and bring more people to live in a more harmful way to the planet. The environmentalists will have to give way to mass immigration, because that is the top priority. That is the sacred value in today's society. So all the other values are slightly lower.